When you hear something in the news, I really like our news media, definitely. I actually like my attorney more than the news media, just, you know. I hope there's anybody from news media here. Thank you. The way they say things, always I want to close my eyes and say it again in my head. This property is selling 60% below the market value of 2 years ago. What does that mean?
Nothing.
Who said nothing?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Because
it means nothing. Okay, that means you bought this property at $220,000. What a deal. That's a great deal. But there's a problem. If all your neighbors at the same time are selling, what, 30, 131, 129, 125. There's neighborhoods in Detroit is doing this. Is this 60% of the market value of 2 years ago? Okay, let's go 50 years back and say, wow, this is selling 200, 300% of the 50 years ago. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Nothing. This is the value of this property. Guess what? You're not buying it any lower than anybody else. So be careful with that, with those comps. Those comps has a lot to do with just the age of the property, square footage, and the time, maybe like 3 months, maximum 6 months past, not more than that. Yes, sir.
When you say improvements, how do you go to the house and say, okay, I estimate it's going to cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000? How do you come up with those numbers?
Okay, there is some improvements are real simple, and you have to be very unbiased judgment. You have to have unbiased judgment on it, but you can't just go there. And I have seen some of my clients, they do this, and they're looking at this, and I'm looking at the house. Oh yeah, we're gonna be probably having like a carpet, paint, a little bit of a knick-knack here or there. Okay, that's like $5,000. And my client looks at me and goes, I think it's gonna take $15,000 to fix this up. With what measurement? I mean, you can't just lowball it, you won. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to, you're not going to win. You have to be very honest about it. There's nobody there between you and your agent and the house. You basically have to, now, if I value this house at 150, if between you and I, we value this house at 150, okay, and we know that it has, let's like $10,000, $15,000 into it that we have to put. If somebody comes in and pays 175, okay, it's not our problem. Between you and I, it's not our problem. They pay too much for it. And I am very big on one thing. Oops. Next, let's move on. We are not going to cry over it. They didn't give us, I mean, in HUD, we put a bid. A property that I have told my client that it was 154, and we could purchase it at 135, okay? And this property really had nothing to do. I mean, like, we really had to go put like call it a cleaning service, and that's it, and we could have just have it moved in. Between 135 to 140 was pretty good, and we put a bid at 135. And after we didn't win, but somebody bought at 154, 500. You know what? Somebody got bad advice. An extra $500. So that's the main thing. Any other
Question? Yes, sir.
I want to go back to a couple of pages you did a little while ago.
Okay.
Let's say 150 or whatever you did, or 190. You said rental value. How do you come up with, if you buy a home, how do
We
you
give,
build it?
just like,
When you hold on to it? and you-
sure, very good question. Just like whenever my clients and I, we go see a house, we already have in our hand the comps in that area for sale, the sales comp of that area, and I have a rental comp. I can pull it up in MLS, and I have the rental comp of that area. If we don't have that, if the numbers doesn't fit, we won't even go see the house. For us is numbers, then becomes location.
So the realtor would have that information.
Exactly. And actually not every realtor in town, only Ken and me. What? What do you think? I'm going to give you the phone number of somebody else? Any other question? I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any way of finding out if the title is clear before you go and bid on something at auction?
On like what?
If they're
HUD, REOs,
just any.
they're all title are cleared. Believe me. You are not buying it. Actually, when you're buying it in pre-foreclosure, you might be checking into that. But when you're buying it in HUD or you're buying it in REO, that's already clear title.
If you're buying at the courthouse steps, though, you have to be very careful because there could be liens, especially federal tax liens, which will supplant a mortgage.
Everything.
So you have to be very careful. That's why buying it for the courthouse steps can be risky business.
Right. Is there any way of finding out before you go?
The day that goes to courthouse sale, you're going to check the tax records, their public record. I mean, at the courthouse, all good foreclosure buyers will check the property of target and make sure that that property doesn't have any federal tax liens that day, because if it does, you might end up with that, or other liens that are filed that day. So
I'll make your job easier. Don't go to the courthouse and buy a house. You
don't know what there might need tons of.
There's much more bigger fish that you have to fry than if the title is clear. You know what I mean? You have much bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, one of the problems you have at courthouse steps too is you got a lot of people that have gone to too many buy it yourself at the foreclosure step seminars, which ends up muddying up the real buyers. I mean, I've been to the foreclosure step. Plus, you have to pay cash, cashier's checks, as is. So sometimes you don't even get to see the inside of the property. It can be big trouble. Why we like REOs is because the bank has come in, got a realtor, got all the contractors in, fixed the property up enough to get it on the market and get it sold. Why we like HUDs is that it's going to be title insured by the federal government. So there's reasons why. Not to say you can't buy good deals at the courthouse steps, but you're dealing against a lot of experts first of all, and there's pitfalls.
Big rule of thumb. Remember this. Don't pay for information, pay for service. You always will be ahead. One last question, ma'am.
If you're looking at property in another part of the country, to what extent can you trust the values listed in Zillows and services like that?
I love Zillows because I like the people. They have some easy way of looking at it, but your best values, your best information, it comes from the local realtor, and make sure that realtor knows what they are doing. Okay, but Zillow is a very good. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Great.